Ha ha ha. Hello, it's me, Onion Creature. We have more news in the digital physical landscape of the Nintendo Switch 2 system, which has been in not a great shape since the Switch 2 began its life. It really does seem like this is the generation in which physical games are really starting to be de-emphasized, and essentially Nintendo does not want you buying their games physically if they can get away with it. This new announcement is an increase in that messaging. So let's get some context, because when I first saw this I was pretty disturbed. My initial reaction was quite negative. Still, and now taking some time, it's still negative, but there is certainly more nuance to discuss. I don't think that necessarily makes this a good thing, for reasons I'll get into. So essentially, this news is for North American regions. I guess this also affects Canada as well as us here in the US of A. Let's read the little blurb. Beginning in May 2026 and starting with pre-orders for Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, new Nintendo published digital titles exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2 will have an MSRP that is different from physical versions. Nintendo games offer the same experiences whether in packaged or digital format, and this change simply reflects the different costs associated with producing and distributing each format and offers players more choice in how they can buy and play Nintendo games. As always, retail partners set their own prices for physical and digital games, and pricing for each title may vary. I would take that last statement with a grain of salt. I don't think retailers are going to charge less because of this. So in Yoshi and the Mysterious Books instance, let's click the link here. So we have $59.99 for the digital version and $69.99 for the physical version. So this could be angled as Nintendo lowering the price for the digital version of this game, which otherwise would have been $70. However, I don't necessarily buy that. And I don't buy that because of the way Nintendo has priced other Switch 2 games. For example, I'm going to be honest, Mario Tennis Fever. I picked that game up recently. It's a pretty good game. Does it have $70 worth of value? No. I could even point you to something like Pokopia, which is a good game. Lots of stuff to do in it. It's a life sim. That's $70. And then you have Tomodachi Life launching next month, and that's at $60. It's on Nintendo Switch 1. Is there really that much of a difference in the type of content in those games? I'm not sure. Not necessarily, but I guess that's up for debate. Either way, though, games in the same sort of genre being priced differently for these different systems. So what I'm getting down to is Yoshi and the Mysterious Book does seem to be a bit of a smaller title by Nintendo's estimation. And so that's perhaps why they're experimenting with this, because they know, okay, $70 for this, so that might be a little bit steep. So we're going to launch this new initiative where we're pricing digital and physical games differently, which has been done in other regions, as has been pointed out. It's done in, I guess, Europe, possibly in Japan. I haven't looked into that as much, but it's definitely done in Europe. I guess the big deal of it is it being in Nintendo's biggest market, which is the USA. So this is bringing it into consistency with the other regions, kind of. But it is Nintendo's biggest market, so it is a big deal, and they hadn't been doing this before. But why I'm not necessarily a big fan of this is because it's a further incentive for people to move away from physical games, which is the way I want to get games. So I don't like it. And if you are a digital-only person, I'm not sure this is really going to benefit you all that much. In this case, yes, it is nice if you're a digital player to be able to get a $60 version. In the future, I could very well see us getting a $70 digital game and then an $80 physical game. So basically, there's a lot of messiness going on here, and it's hard to know how this is going to shake out in the long term. I just find it hard to believe that this will be beneficial to a majority of consumers. I don't think digital games across the board are going to be cheaper. I think in this case, they are doing some experimentation, perhaps, is maybe what's happening with Yoshi, since it's a smaller title that they can test this out on. It's hard to tell how much this will affect physical sales, because there is still a market for that, even with game key cards. We saw Pokopia, the game key card, selling out quite a lot. That was presumably a game with a much higher sales potential. A really messy topic that continues to get more and more messy. This is just another thing that further complicates things. Another thing to keep in mind is, of course, the price of manufacturing going up as a result of global events. Game cartridges and just the packaging itself is made with oil. I wonder where that comes from. So there are serious disadvantages from Nintendo's perspective for people buying physical games, because it costs them just a bit more. And if they can get people to move to digital, that just seems like something they're going to want to do. This is definitely bad for retailers. Stores themselves have, in the US, had price parity generally with digital or physical games, but that might not be the case in the future. So sorry about that, department stores and whatnot. Yeah, there isn't really that much information on this other than this blurb, and it just says beginning in May 2026 and starting with Yoshi. It does not say much about what else is going to happen, which is concerning. And I just find it difficult to believe that it's going to be good. I've seen a few people celebrating this, but even though this is largely going to affect people who want physical games at this point, I don't think in the long run this is really going to be that much of a benefit for digital players either. So don't get your hopes up. I'm saying be cynical about this, is the conclusion I'm drawing here. Sorry to be so goddamn negative, but it's hard not to be for me on this topic. Goodbye.